Welcome to the High Performance Man podcast. I am your host, John Fayocavitz. On this show, I interview successful men who have built impressive careers and businesses, founders, CEOs, and senior leaders, and professionals who have operated at a high level for years. We talk about what actually made them successful. The goal is simple: to learn directly from the men who have done it, so we could apply these insights to our own careers, our own businesses, and lives, and continue raising our own standard of performance. The show is sponsored by Prime Performance Method. The Prime Performance Method is designed specifically for high-performing men who have achieved success in their careers but feel like their body and energy have taken a hit along the way. We help busy professional men regain strength, lose weight, and feel younger within 8 weeks without long workouts, extreme dieting, or disrupting their demanding schedule. So if you're a high-performing man who wants to feel as strong and energized as you are successful, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. On today's show, we have Jason Cullen, who is the founder of the law office of Jason Cullen, where he is the estate planner and probate attorney for Massachusetts. Welcome to our show today, Jason.
Hey, thanks, John. Thanks for having me on.
You're so welcome. Okay, let's get started. Jason, what's the most important lesson you've learned so far that has helped you become successful in your business?
I would say the most important thing I've learned in building my business is just being absolutely relentless, believing in yourself and your mission. And when obstacles happen, and they 100% will, regardless of your planning, even your funds, your support, a day is going to happen where something is it's going to slow you down. It's going to make you think, do I want to do this today? Do I want to keep going? And I've learned to really embrace those moments and be thankful for the difficult times. And what I look at is when those moments happen, that's when most people would quit. But I know that I'll take that step further. And as soon as I take that step further and get past that difficult moment, I'm leaps and bounds of further than my competition. Because a lot of people just, when things get difficult, they stop.
Right. And that's one of the main things that I think a lot of entrepreneurs today, young people especially, when they get just what you said, they get into a difficult situation, they just say, okay, this isn't for me, and I'll change the course.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because it's easy to switch. It's easy to say, oh, this happened and now this is difficult, but you know what? I think I'd rather do this. No, I think I'd rather push through and fulfill my own dreams, that fulfill the things that I'm working on.
Okay. How long have you had your business, the law office?
I've only been attorney for about 2 years now.
Okay.
Just about to hit my second year. I didn't even become an attorney until just a few years ago. I was firefighter, still am, but I've been a firefighter for a little over 20 years. And then the opportunity presented itself to be able to go to law school later in life. And I figured, who's going to pass up a law degree? And then once I became an attorney, I thought, what type of law do I want to practice? Who do I want to work for? And then that led me down the road of, all right, now I'm an attorney. Now what do I want to actually do with this? And that led to other thoughts of opening my own practice and the type of law that I do now.
That's awesome. Okay. So when did you realize that, that you wanted to have this attitude of a no quit? Was it embedded in you your whole life? Or did you get to a certain point where it said, okay, enough's enough?
Well, my grandfather was a big influence on me growing up, and he showed me that with a strong work ethic and a smart mind, you can make anything happen. But I would say that the moment in time, the pinpoint that I know I learned to never give up was the one time in my life that I did give up, that I've always felt horrible about, and that was when I was in the Army. I was about 19, and I was presented with the opportunity to go to Special Forces selection course. I trained for about 6 months. I was in the best shape of my life. I was 1,000% ready to go forward and be Special Forces and be the most elite soldier I possibly could. Within a short time of being at selection, I quit. It got into my head, this isn't what I want. I heard other people around me, oh, this is going to be a full lifestyle. You won't be able to have the family that you want. And I let other people's influence and weakness influence my decision and my goals, and I quit. I've never quit anything since then. And any time that I feel, oh, this is too hard, this is too difficult, I should stop, I remind myself exactly how I felt when I quit back then, and I won't let that happen to myself again.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Okay, so now with that mindset that you have now, I'm hope you don't have any regret then.
Oh, absolutely none. I try to live without regret. It's going to happen. You know,
Yeah,
you'll make a decision and think, maybe this would have been better this way or that. But you make a decision, you give it your all, and you
and
move
it's
on.
right, and it's done. And I think what which might lead me to my next question. What do you think hinders a lot of men today from reaching their full potential?
Self-doubt. I
Hmm.
think self-doubt is the biggest thing. There's so much influence around us to try to make things easier, or people saying it's all right to quit. You can back off. You can, pump the brakes a little bit. You need a break. You need to slow down. I think that's bad advice. I think if you really want something, you need to go after it with everything you possibly have.
Right, right. So self-doubt. Awesome. Okay. All right. My next question. For most men on the road to business or professional success, other areas of their life may get sacrificed. What's been one of the areas of your life that have suffered, if there has been, but where would you like to be successful now too?
The thing that I've absolutely had to back off of is essentially a social life. I don't really have one. I work and then I work, and any free time I have, I spend with my wife and kids. I'm very happy to have
Well,
everything
that's
that I do, but having more of a social life and being able to go out and play around a golf or do some fishing or just be able to hang out with friends doesn't really fit into my schedule these days. And that's something that I'm missing and I look forward to in the future. And it'll be really worth it when the time comes.
okay. So right now you're focusing on the total business part.
Career and family. I make a lot of time for my family. I do a lot to where people say, "How do you get so much done?" And then the biggest thing is I try to mark things on a calendar. And my family is very important to me. And recently, I became a basketball coach for my oldest son. I've done it for a few years now. We've gotten a little better every year. Uh, it's very difficult to find the time to do that, but it's massively rewarding. I don't get to spend a lot of time with my son, and we get to really be into an activity together. And I found that as busy as your schedule is, schedule what's important and block it out. That's what
Right.
I'm doing today. I'm coaching my son. I'm not reaching out to clients. I might even take time off the firehouse. But that moment for my son, that's important. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Well, I know how you feel with the coach. I've been a coach for over 30 years. I'm a football and lacrosse coach.
Oh, nice. I was never a sports guy, and getting into basketball. If you spoke to friends of mine when I was younger, they would have never guessed I would be a basketball coach. But I've learned to love it through my son loving it, and I really can't think of a more rewarding endeavor than coaching. It's such a blast.
Great. Well, how about your health? Do you have you always? I knew you were in the special forces that you wanted to get into. Did you not? Because your health was. Did you always maintain it?
I have. I was into martial arts when I was in high school. I left for the Army 17, right after high school. I became a firefighter within about a year and a half of returning from the military. So my jobs have always been very physical. And I mean, from the jobs and starting the law practices of itself, I'm not someone who can really sit still. And so I'm always moving, I'm always doing. I like physical labor, I like working out. I like being sharp. And I feel like when your body's sharp, your mind is sharp.
Exactly. So you continued that. So really, the only thing that's really that you think suffered in your life is the social life, and it seems
Mhm.
like you seem really content in what you're doing anyway.
Well,
So
and I'm also blessed with the fact that I get to be a firefighter and
right.
that I get to be an attorney. They're very different hats and very different realities, and I love that I get to step back and forth between those two.
Wow. That is from one end to one end.
It really is. I mean,
I mean,
they do have their correlations, but
were you a firefighter for most of your life?
I became a firefighter. I'm in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I got on the job when I was 23. I just hit my 22nd year, and God willing, I'll be there for 10 more years until I retire.
Wow. Well, that's one of my my girlfriend's uh son is out in Oregon, and he does it every summer, for once he's out of school, he's a firefighter.
Oh, it's
And
a phenomenal job.
he absolutely loves it. And the most the thing is the rewarding part of it, what he's doing to help people and what happens. So that's awesome. That is so good. So question, and this is curiosity for me, because I like, I love men, do you have a morning routine?
Not specifically. I've tried different morning routines. I've tried to, get up at a very specific time, take the cold shower, drink the water with a little bit of salt, and do all the things that you hear everywhere. I've kind of cut that down to what's simple. I mean, without an alarm, I wake up at 5:30 every morning. Just boom, I'm up, ready to go. I try to drink water, try to get a little movement in. I do my best to not have a coffee for about an hour and a half. Sometimes I fail on that one. But my morning routine, I guess, is more just easing into the day, knowing what I have to do. And I'm blessed that I really like the things that I do. So I don't feel like it's hard to get up. As soon as I wake up, I'm excited to do whatever it is the day usually has for me.
Well, I'll tell you what you're telling my audience is that's awesome. Okay. Because when you get out of bed, you're conquering the day and you enjoy the day before you even start.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I don't wake up with a question mark. That can be
Right.
tough sometimes because I wake up and I have plenty of things to do, but I try to look at the responsibilities and the difficulties that I deal with as a benefit and a blessing.
Right.
There's not a lot of people that get to have the level of responsibility that I do, or they get to help people in the ways that I do. So when things get tough, I just realize I'm in a position that's difficult for me that helps others. So let's get to work.
Right. So you're taking challenges as part of your life. That's what it is.
Absolutely. It's what keeps me moving. I like challenges. I like difficulties. I like when things are hard because then it's worth it.
Right. At the end, the prize at the end. Good.
Absolutely.
Very, very good. Okay. Next question, which is maybe put it a little bit of, which leads me into this is you're so busy. Okay. You got two jobs that you're running and doing things. When do you find yourself at peace? If you do.
uh
That's why I
I,
asked about the morning routine. Like a lot of the
yeah.
people, they have that certain routine where they'll get up in the morning, they'll have some kind of spiritual thing or something, you know what I mean? That the yoga, they meditate, they have breath work, those type of things. But you seem so busy. When do you fit time in for not just what I'm saying you, but fit peace, like where your brain starts to, do you think your brain runs a lot? I mean, do you feel that way, or do you know how to calm yourself down?
If you ask my wife, she would say that I can definitely calm myself down, but I'm also going constantly. I'm the type of person who I wake up at 5:30, I'm going, going, going. But then when it's time to when it's bedtime and it's time to fall asleep, the second I lay down and close my eyes, I'm out. She thinks it's pretty wild. It's somewhat impressive that I can go from 100 miles an hour back to zero, back to 100 again. But to answer your question, when do I feel peace?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I guess I somewhat feel peace all the time because I'm
I was gonna
happy with what
say,
I'm doing and I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't think there's any specific moment in the day where I go, oh, well, that was really tough. Now I get to kind of decompress. My mind doesn't really work like that. Um,
right.
I find peace in doing and accomplishing and moving. Um, and I have so much to do that I'm very thankful for that I'm kind of at peace with it all. That doesn't mean it's not difficult or I'm not
No,
stressed
that's
or overtired or anything. But when you have purpose behind constant movement, it doesn't feel like burnout. It just feels like I have all this that I get to do and I'm excited to do it. And there are moments where it definitely runs down, it gets heavy. Because with everything that I do, that doesn't change the fact that life happens around me too. Somebody gets sick, you get slammed with a bill, the water heater go, whatever it is. It's hard to fit difficulties into an already busy life, but
right.
that's life. It's just that's what happens.
Yeah, I figured as I was asking these questions that when you started, like my obstacles as part of my day. That's how I do it. When I asked you that question about peace, I figured you'd answer to like just doing things that makes me peaceful.
Yes, it does. Sitting
Yeah.
still is kind of difficult for me.
Yeah. So peace, if you were resting for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, it'd probably anxiety would probably hit.
It does, because if I'm sitting still for 30 minutes, my mind goes, hold on, I'm supposed to be doing something right now, aren't I?
Yeah.
Let me go figure that out.
So I'm guaranteeing you're not a TV watcher then.
No, very little. Very little TV. Honestly, really, I guess that would probably be one of my most peaceful times throughout the day is at the end of the day when, the phone's off, and I'm at home, I'm not at the station, kids have gone to bed. My wife and I will usually take those last hour or two of the day to just sit, sometimes have a drink, maybe play Scrabble, just relax with each other. And that's my most peaceful times of the day probably is when everything starts to wind down and I get to really be in what I've created. Like
Right.
with everything that's going on, I get to take that moment at the end of the day and go, wow, I have this amazing, beautiful wife. I have these happy kids. I have these great jobs. I can sit here and just kind of enjoy the things that I've helped build over time. And an hour later, it's crash out, get up, and right back at it again. So
Right. Okay. Quite. You it doesn't seem like you do, but are you a social media? Does social media ever get in the way?
no, I've recently started to do a little more social media. I enjoy the marketing aspect of it, but it feels so uncomfortable putting myself out there. I'm just trying to do it more now just to get the reps in and get more comfortable with it. If you look, I only use Facebook and LinkedIn. If you look at those, I probably post 2 or 3 times a week. If it becomes something that takes away from something else, it's one of the first things that goes on the back burner.
First thing that goes. So you probably just are using it more for marketing purposes right now for your law firm.
Yes, strictly. I even have friends that use social media and they go, "Oh, you didn't see that this happened or that," and I go, "No, I didn't," because a lot of the times I'm working to put out content. I put out the content and then I go back to something else. I'm not scrolling, and I know that that's a way to gain followers.
Well, no, that's
But
the reason I ask is a lot of the men that I have on the podcast, they actually have to put it out of they have to take an hour block, like you said. Okay. Take that hour block, and this is what you're going to do.
yeah,
Okay. I don't have any social media, especially in the morning when they get up. That was part of their routine is that they say, okay, I'm not touching social media.
oh, it can be an absolute time suck and a complete brain drain too. You realize you're flipping through, and 20 minutes later, you may as well have just been asleep. Except
Right.
sleepy, at least you would have gained some rest out of it. The doom scrolling is just it's dangerous. It's very
Yeah.
dangerous. That's why I try to hop on, get my content out there, and get back to something else.
Okay. Great. Okay. My last question, Jason, is this. If you were to give one piece of advice to other men who are starting out in their journey, okay, trying to achieve success, what would that be? Was it be
I would
what you said,
say
relentless?
relentless, but when starting out, I think the number one thing to do is don't get bogged down in the details of exactly what you want to do and just figure out a path that looks good. Because as you walk down the path, you can't see the curves, you can't see over the hill, but you know you're going in the right direction. And when you get over that hill or you get that around that corner, maybe there's a new opportunity. Maybe there's something you thought you really wanted, and it's just not what you thought it was. And just having a path, but being open to it changing as you move along it.
That was another, again, having an open mindset to also learn. Do you think that's part of, not just having your own, what do you say? It's my way or the highway type thing.
No, that doesn't work. I feel like not only does it push people away, it pushes yourself away from what you actually want. You can't
Right.
get too, because life changes and it just keeps moving. And when my first job, I was 16 and got fired from McDonald's within 2 weeks. Now I'm a firefighter and an attorney. I would have never guessed that this would be the progression of things.
Oh, that is super, super, super. Well, Jason, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Okay. And as a reminder, this show is brought to you by the Prime Performance Method, where I help people perform men rebuild their strength, energy, and confidence without sacrificing their careers. So if you're ready to be strong in your body as you are successful in your business, message me at John Fayocavitz on LinkedIn. Until the next episode, perform strong in all areas of your life.